Yogis. Let's get it rolling. So, we're going to start up on our feet. So, pretty much just assume good old Tadasana. So you want to start with your feet under your hips, not too wide, not too narrow. Knees straight ahead. Steady and upright through your trunk. Open across your collarbones, but also a sense of being somewhat open across your upper back. So it's very equal, the front and the back. And for most of us, getting that optimized position for the head, the skull, and therefore the neck, usually involves a subtle retraction. Remember, that retraction usually happens around the hyoid bone where the tongue is attached. And just for now, we're going to let the arms hang down along our side, maybe even with a little bit of purposeful downward, very subtle backward action. And you will likely find a little more weight settling into your heels as opposed to the balls of the feet. And I've cued even standing before on the feet, but a little more insight, I believe there's slightly more weight in the heels, just kind of where we're aligned. Ears over shoulders, over hips, over knees, over heels. That front of the foot's a little longer than the back of the foot. So use the whole of each foot, but really settle in through the heels. And then everybody connect to breathing. And just for about 10 breaths, you're welcome to have your eyes open or closed. Really just tune into standing. Very little was said about asana in yoga's early days. The deep exploration of asana came a little later. But even in those early days, there was a very clear suggestion about how to hold your body. And that was to embody steadiness and easefulness. Stiram and sukham. So just in these last few breaths, as you continue to feel, experience, acknowledge breathing, also feel your capacity to be both steady upright, stable, alert, and yet easeful, calm, relaxed. It's a beautiful combination. And then please join the hands together at the heart. And on your next full inhalation, let the arms reach down, out, and up. And then on your next full exhalation, hinge forward, downward, and just relax into it for a moment. So put any amount of knee bend that you need to really make contact with hands and feet simultaneously. Hasta Bandha, and in the feet, Pada Bandha. The bandha is a little seal, a little connection, a little place where we join and merge. In this case, hands in earth, feet in earth. Take full advantage of the weight of the skull. Oh my gosh. Release the neck and the shoulders and the upper back. And then before your upward journey begins, put an even bigger bend in your knees. And just slowly modulate. An upward roll. Oh my God. Okay, let's take the feet a little wider. Let's take the hands out in front and try a full roll down and a full roll up. So starting from the top, you're going to let your head slowly release. Let your shoulders round slightly forward. Gently rounding your back, mindfully. Same thing, everybody. Put a little bend in the knees. Slowly uncurl your way up. One more, then we'll go into a walkout at the end of the roll down. So it gets a little more complex. So beginning with the roll, head, upper back, shoulders, mid back, low back, then the walkout will just be just like it sounds. Walk your hands forward. Little by little. Find your way into plank. And then please walk your hands backward, little by little. Once those hands are back up on your feet, walk the hands all the way up one more time. Then oriented closer to the front of your mat, with just one more with the legs this time. Roll down. And then walk the feet back. Little by little. All the way to plank. And then walk the feet in, little by little. Okay, and then rather than rolling up from here, we're just going to walk the feet back one more time. All the way back to plank. And then make a little room and walk just 1 foot forward, the right one. And then find just a nice rasa-filled, in Sanskrit, rasa is like that kind of juiciness. So extract that from this push and pull. I know most of you guys know this move really, really well. Non-yoga movers know it really well too, as the world's greatest stretch. So ways you can vary it. You can have fingertips on the ground, fists on the ground. You can be holding weights. You can have palms on the ground, forearms on the ground, hands on a block. Ways you can vary it. You can be rocking like directly forward and backward, sort of the demo I'm doing now. But you can also, add a little angle. You can peel off your front foot when you rock backward. You can really squeeze the long leg butt cheek when you come forward. Like maximum squeeze on that thing. Oh my God. One more go. Back to plank. Make a little room. And walk the opposite foot forward. So now we're lunging on the new side. Just exploring. So it's like, a movement pattern we know well, and then just introducing little bits of novelty to it. And we lean into, our past experience and memory in many ways when we do poses we know well. But it's always a fresh experience. The actual sensation of being in it in that moment. Yeah? So stay in the present. Wow, that feels amazing. Remember, you can add slightly different angles. Oh. And then when you're ready, everybody, let's try downward facing dog. 10 big breaths. So stay connected to breathing through your nose. 5 more rounds. Still kind of playing with those 2 elements that Patanjali mentioned, steady, easeful. Not every pose has a perfect 50-50 distribution of those 2 energies, but so many of the poses have a little bit of each. So just look for them. And then everybody, when you're ready, let's get 3-legged. Reach up the right leg. Really squeeze your butt at the top, and then do little circles with that leg. Okay? And circle the opposite direction. And then let's switch legs. So if you need to, come down, take a little break, obviously. Dog pose, 3-legged. And writing O's up in the sky. Clockwise. And then writing O's up in the sky. Counterclockwise. Let's go back to leg number 1. This time bend the knee and take 1 big step, or the walk-up method, and find your way into a lunge. Let's try this. We're going to bring the hands onto the thigh, little waist station. This will also serve as like our maximum height in the lunge with our trunk. Really get that heel heavy. Bias this front leg slightly out. And bias that back leg slightly in. Now from here, without the weights yet, just let your arms rest along your shin and squeeze. Up and back. 5 more. Squeeze. Squeeze. Pull. Row. Row. And row. Okay? Then let's bring both hands down. Plank pose. So now try 2 or 3 or 4 pushes. Push. 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 Then we get to dog pose. Lift the left leg. Bend the knee. Either walk method or 1 big step method. Hands on the front thigh. You stay perched about 3/5 of the way up, 2/3 of the way up, somewhere around there. And then try that rowing movement. Like you're picking up little suitcases and squeezing them up into the ribs. Two more. 1 more. And then release, plank, 2 or 3 pushes. 1, 2, 3. Then downward facing dog. And then from here, everybody, we're going to shift one more time to plank. Won't be the last, but And then come down and rest on the belly. All right. Belly down. So just check back in with your breathing. You know, just depending on your system. That might have gotten your heart racing a little bit. Might have changed your breathing pattern a little bit. So just kind of come back. Now from here what we're going to do is narrow the legs. Try to fit the arms inside the boundaries of your mat. Tuck your chin. Squeeze your butt. And then roll the shoulders away from the ground. Point them downward towards your knees, away from your ears. And barely lift your very straight arms, probably pinky side up. And release. You all got that? So you've got strong adducted legs, tight active glutes. At least explore it. Maybe you wind up feeling like it's a better pattern for you to soften the glutes a bit. I mean, obviously it's up to you, but I kind of like locking them down for now. But that changes over the years, so I'm open. But really focus on those shoulder blades squeezing together. Heads of the shoulders dropping down. Arms going into full extension, kind of like a karate chop. And then lift it. Let's try like 10 more. The more have your phone in your hand, or you're looking at your computer, or you're slumped over a desk, or your hands on steering wheel, this thing's so golden. It basically is the reverse of all of that. We're still doing this arm exercise, y'all. It's so great for the upper back, for the shoulders. Last couple goes, even if you've surpassed 10 reps, just keep going. Last one. Okay. Only like 6. We got through almost 20 of those guys. Arms out at like 9 and 3 o'clock. Lift up your thumbs. Lift up your arms. Release. So same thing. I like keeping the hips pretty strong. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Pulling the arms up into space. And release. 4 more. Last 2. Last 1. Man. Oh, that is good news. All right, y'all, let's come up to all fours. Please tuck toes. Come just off your knees. Now, what I'd like you to do is try to keep your trunk as parallel to the ground as possible. So your knees really low. And straighten one leg behind you, just up off the ground. Hope you can see that. And switch. So that leg that straightens behind you stays about hip height. Last couple. The top of that leg lift should be maximum squeeze on the glutes, especially the one. Last one. Dog pose. Now let's do the hands walking toward the feet business like we did during some warm-ups. And then please walk the hands up the feet, up the shins, up the knees, up the thighs. Goodness. All right. So, plan is weight. Now, always with the weights. There's an easy way to do all of it without the weights. You just don't use the weights, right? You just go through every movement pattern, like your bicep curling, like your overhead pressing, all of it, just without holding extra weight. It's still a great motion. You can still create internal contraction. So, if you don't have weights, you want to work with a little resistance, you can even hold water bottles. 16 ounces. All right. So this is one we've done almost every time we've had the weights. Classic. Get your Tadasana established. Basically the pose we started with. Maybe a little extra weight in the heels compared to the pads, but feet have some well-distributed weight. Toes are straight ahead or slightly turned out. Trunk is nice and stable. Hyoid bone goes slightly backward. So, it's curl and the overhead press. So bicep curl. Let's try a few kind of slowly. Really squeeze it right here. Hold it tight. Rotate a little. Without arching, without back bending. Overhead press. Try to hold it up here. It's hard to hold this one without back bending. Pull down. Rotate. And slowly tricep extension. I.e. your arms go all the way down along your side, possibly even a little further backward. Let's try 9 more. Curl. Rotate. Overhead press with trunk stability. Lower. Curl. Slowly release. 8 more. How about this, y'all? Instead of framing it with just reps, we'll do it for about a minute. And if you've got no weight and it feels really comfortable, maybe you're ripping through a few more. If you happen to be saddled with a lot of weight relative to, the difficulty of this movement, you're going to do fewer, but everyone's, literally more work. So about 20 more seconds. Curling, overhead pressing, lowering, extending. I'm down to my last one. Goodness. And release. We're going to set the weights down for a moment. So next activity, I don't believe I had called for it yesterday. Actually, I think I did. You just want to move around actively for this one. So you could do some high knees, some jump or jog or skip in place, or some jump ropes. My space is so tight right here. So you want to try to get about a minute of jumping. Now, naturally, it doesn't have to be skipping rope, or it could be mock rope skipping. If you have a rope, I've never been a big fan of the mock one because you miss all the coordination skills. But you still get the cardio. You still get the action for your legs. You still get the work for your bones. Last few seconds. Good. So it's about a minute of jumping. Next, we're going back to the weights. But instead of pushing or pressing, we're going to pull. So, we're going to do bent over rows. Bent over rows. Which means you bend over. That makes sense. Brace your torso so your back is neutral. Cue the knees slightly out so your hips are strong. And then row. Same thing, we'll frame it with about a minute of work. So you could do 6 or 8 real slow rows, holding at the top. You can do 10 or 12 quicker rows. If you're working with, your edge weight capacity, maybe you're taking breaks in between. About 20 more seconds. Strong grip. Good solid squat. Active full row. Excellent. Next, we're going to lie down and do like a good old classic bench press. So obviously you don't have a bench, but you've got the ground. So you reach and lower. 1 minute. Last 20 seconds. Last 10 seconds. And this one might be relatively easy with the weight you're working with, so if that's the case, you're just ripping through them, no break. And then everybody, when you're ready, release that. Whew. Let's rock up. Careful of the weights. Next, we're going to do another little like aerobic circuit. So you've got basically all the same options. Run in place, jog in place, skip in place, or jumping jacks. I don't think I threw that one out last time. Good old classic jumping jacks. Or back to the rope. 1 minute. I knew that direction wasn't going to work. Okay, so you're moving kind of quickly on purpose, but not pushing any weight around on purpose. So we're interjecting in between these weight-dominant movements some quick movements, some more cardiovascular movements. And it's only for a minute, so you know the time is relatively short. So you can really give it as much gas as you want during that minute. This could be your minute to go get something and run the fridge. Or this is your minute to just run in place as fast as you can. Last few seconds. Awesome. All right. Back to the weights. So now in this one, we're not going to do a row, but it looks a little like a row. We're going to do a whole deadlift. Deadlift is basically coming up from Uttanasana with a flat back. So, the first part of it is folding into Uttanasana without rounding your back. So let's go over this. Hinge. Don't lock out the legs, but they stay straight. Don't go beyond a hip hinge. And then from your hips, pull up with a flat back. So neutral spine, neutral spine, neutral spine. Neutral spine, neutral spine. 1 minute. Remember, you can do this unloaded. Just meaning you're not holding the weights. I mean, technically there's still a load to bear in that you're holding your body weight against gravity, but it's different. 15 seconds more. Classic deadlift. Oh, man. Release. All right. Next, we're going to come down onto our back. Keep the weights nearby. So here's the deal. We're going to do 30 seconds of one-legged bridge on the right, 30 seconds of one-legged bridge on the left. And then we're going to come up and do some mountain climbers. And then we're going to go back and do a two-legged bridge with the skull crushers. Yeah? So weight free, come back down, take one leg toward the chest, 30 seconds, one leg bridge. Up and down. Now again, you're just given this time frame. You can do 3 slow bridges. You can do 10 quick bridges. You can hold for a while at the top. You can keep it fluid. But 30 seconds of well executed one leg bridge. Okay, let's switch legs. Ten seconds to go, everybody. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Mountain climbers, I would recommend using the dumbbells if you have access to them. So mountain climbers is basically just plank, churning the legs, adding hip flexion, like you're marching, right? Like you're climbing up a really steep mountain, really steep. Now, if you wanted more, you could try to tap your knee toward opposite elbow. So there's a little twist in your game. You could try to take the leg out. So there's a little more work for your hip. If you want it more cardio, just run, like you're sprinting up the mountain. 10 more seconds. We're almost done with the circuit, you know. Last one. 2-legged bridge. So you got 2 flat feet on the floor, solid heels, really active glutes holding bridge. And then you're doing this guy. Right along the side of your head. Don't hit your head with the weights, y'all. I mean, obviously. Bridge up. Control the tricep bend or bicep bend. And then that tricep extension. 1 minute. Last 30 seconds, y'all. You're holding one super stable bridge and moving the arms back and forth. Nice straight, even levers, elbows in line with shoulders. Just a controlled karate chop, sort of. Tricep extension. And then finally, everybody release. Rock your way up to a seat. If you still have those weights, use them behind you and come into a Purvottanasana. So solid on your heels, lifted through the trunk, lifted through your glutes, straight through your arms, squeeze through your butt. And then down you come. Take just one of the weights and hold it out in front. And just hold your trunk really stable. Navasana. Maybe add a leg. Maybe sample each. Maybe both. Ay, ay, ay. That one's tough. And then everybody setting the weights off to one side. Let's come into Baddha Konasana. Reach both arms forward. Stretch out your digits. Literally one finger at a time. The whole time getting that nice wrist opening, but a little extra through the digits. Opposite side exposed. And gently stretched. Oh my God, that feels good. Okay, let's shake it out. All right. So from here, we're going to extend the right leg straight ahead, lean to the right, hook the left leg behind you like so. So you've got your thigh on the ground. Oh my goodness, that feels good. And then you can just find the amount of stretch over here that feels good. So if you lean over that way more, it's more intense. If you lean back more, this gets more like oblique, right? The angle opens up more. If you add arm reaching away, 1 minute. Oh my goodness. So remember, y'all, in these transitions, let your torso favor the long straight leg side a little, kind of lean that way. So there's virtually no weight, no pressure, no torque over here. Free your leg. Free your mind and your ass will follow. Okay, new side. All right. That's a funkadelic line. All right, so you're reaching your leg back. Diane or anyone who's got sensitivity with knees, obviously you're going to have to modify this one maybe, but it's important we still everybody get some good nice open stretch for this region. So find it through alternate means if need be. Ooh, this side feels a lot tighter. I haven't even reached my arm back or leaned all the way back or rolled into that bent leg side too much yet, and it's already like a lot of response. Okay. So you just kind of find, oh my gosh, you find your edge as you wish. 1 minute on this side. Oh man. Wow, that's tight. Feels so good though. And it is okay to find versions of these that actually feel pretty good. Right? If going like, just making it up, 80 degrees is painful, then you want to bail. But going 70 degrees is like, oh, that feels nice. Just go 70 degrees. It's all good. Now to get out of there, let's spin a minute. Bias toward the straight leg side. Easily free that leg. And then let's come back onto our backside. Now, just for a moment, everybody, come to a comfortable position where you're lying on your back. And just let your eyes be open for a moment. And just take in whatever's there. Like for me, it's bougainvillea and a roof and sky and wires and trees and leaves. And that's about it. Notice you're also not in your visual field, but in your perceptual field, totally aware of what's behind you. The ground you're on. Sometimes feels like we're just this little like watcher in the front of the head, right behind the eyes. Notice if you can find that. It's kind of curious because often it's really hard to find. Or maybe if you find it, it's just another experience in your perceptual field. There's something possibly even behind it. Just this ever-present consciousness. So please, as you're ready, just allow your eyes to close. And just be a field of awareness. Or perhaps another analogy like a little body of water that's so calm. It just naturally reflects everything around it. samasta sukhino bhavantu loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. One of my favorites. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. All right. So everybody, if you're still around, find your way up to a comfortable seat. And just reconnect to your breathing sensations. Just here to close. Send a little nonverbal gratitude out to the wider world around you. And many thanks for connecting on the interwebs, everybody. Namaste.